Hello, welcome to my second presentation. I can see people are still joining. In the meantime, I have some announcements for you. First of all, please feel invited to our private discussion rooms. Between presentations and during, you can meet individual people from our company who are waiting for you. You can also join through virtual reception desk and make an appointment at a specific time. A second announcement is there is some issue with a countdown timer at the page of the event, and some of you reported that you see that there is still 1 hour to our presentations while the presentations are just starting. So please be aware that this time may be not right. Just go to agenda and see when the events are presentation are starting. Okay, so now I'm switching to my presentation. Okay, so this will be about Smart Edition. Smart Edition is completely redesigned. You can see here on the screen, we have on the left Professional Edition, on the right Smart Edition. The initial goal for us when creating Adaptive Vision Studio was to create an environment which is both very easy and very powerful. But there are limits what you can achieve here. We decided then to offer also an additional edition which focuses strictly on being more easy. This edition just is very similar. You can see the layout of the windows are very similar, but there are a lot of differences in the details, which way of programming we use, how the editor looks like. I will discuss those differences one by one in this presentation. And you can see that Smart Edition consists of several elements. There is a minimal editor, so a different way of creating programs. There is a result control for setting limits for pass or fail. There are auto previews. And there are two things which are also available and recommended in Professional Edition, which are program sections and powerful formulas. These are all elements that make it easier to use our software. We designed them by analyzing what causes trouble, and we implemented them in both Professional and Smart Edition. And there is also for Smart Edition, there is unified licensing, so you can buy licenses which can be used directly at production, and you will be able to modify programs directly at production. So what are the problems that Smart Edition aims to solve? Looking at how people use our software, we found that for basic applications, jumping between many macro filters may be an issue for some applications. Actually, we always thought that creating subprograms is the right thing, but for simple applications where you have very few filters in the program, it actually makes more harm than good. And for that, we devised some ways to create a entire program in one view, actually without macro filters. The second problem is that we have nice, powerful, easy to use tools in our programs, but between the tools, you actually often need to add additional filters. We do not like them very much. We call them bystanders. So like people who are standing aside, but are not the main actors of the event. So those things are like classification of results, transforming the results to pass or fail statuses, or maybe handling conditional data. We found that for some new people, there is some learning curve for that to learn them and how to learn them correctly. So especially for those people who work directly at production and want to modify programs directly on productions. They want something that works with minimal complexity, and this is who we created a Smart Edition for. So now I will be going one by one through all the features. I will try to convince you that Smart Edition can be actually better choice for simple applications. The first of those elements is minimal program editor. You can see on the right is the traditional, we call it compact editor of Adaptive Vision Studio Professional. On the left, you have the minimal, somehow simplified editor. There is a radical change. There are no connections. Some of you will find it strange. Some of you will be so much accustomed to the old style that maybe you can even think it's not very useful. But if you were starting from scratch, this is just a different approach, and it gets some benefits. In this program view, you do not have connections, but you have named outputs, and this makes it possible to fit more tools into one view. So in basic applications, basically you can see the entire program in front of your eyes. Instead of creating connections between tools in an explicit way, you go to the properties window and you set connections as you set parameters. There is this plug icon and it's here, and you select connections using a drop-down list of available data sources. This is how you create connections. Actually, these are implicit connections, but they are still there. The best thing of that is that you basically can have twice as many filters in one view. This may be really useful for simple applications. Some of the complexity of the program is hidden. The program is less explicit, but this is not so important in smaller projects. I personally think that minimal editor is better if you have less than 25 filters in your application. If your application is bigger, use the professional edition, use all the powerful features that you already know. I will later demonstrate it live, but now I am switching to quickly introduce another new feature. It's sections. Sections in the program editor is a way to organize the programs into a standard structure. We have 4 sections right now. Sometimes you need to show them by clicking this button here, and those 4 sections will appear. First section is initialize. In this section, you put filters which need to be executed only once before the main program loop. This is usually for example, creating connection with a PLC, or maybe starting image acquisition, loading of configurations. The next section is acquire. In this section, you put image acquisition and pre-processing. So cropping, smoothing, applying calibration algorithm. Finally, from this section, the final image that you want to process should exit. The next section is process. In this section, this is the main body. This is the main body of the main loop. You put your data analysis tools here. All the image extraction, also the communication tools that need to be done in every iteration. Finally, there is finalize section where you put things that need to be executed when the program is finishing or your subprogram is finishing. In this example, I just demonstrated it in a minimal possible way. First, you have initialization, you have connection initialization, and finalization, you have closing of this connection, but there are many different things which may fit into that model. You can see that the main loop actually goes through acquire and process until it finishes. These sections, initialization and process, are actually quite important for deep learning applications. This is a special case I wanted to briefly emphasize here because since the time we have Weaver behind, initialization actually may take a bit more time because the network gets optimized, And currently, we strongly recommend that you use this separate deploy filter in initialization, so that before you enter the main loop of the application, the neural network is already uploaded to GPU and optimized in memory. So then you have the second filter, we call it run filter, or the main filter, which you execute in each iteration. What's also important, please take note that these connections should exist. So you first deploy, you make connection to the detect feature, so the run filter, and when you want to edit the model or do training, do it through this deploy tool. This is the standard approach now to creating deep learning applications, and with those sections, initialize and process, you can really clearly separate the two things. Okay, back to general discussion of sections. What sections give you? First of all, programs share clear and standard structure. You do not need to devise the program structure through the structure of macro filters. Then you do not need to create those idioms like putting initialization to another macro filter and the main loop to another. Now it's all the related elements are in the one program view. It's easier to move the one-off computation, so those things which need to be only executed once before the main loop, so loading, configuration, preparation of calibration maps, and so on. And in general, this leads to programs which have fewer macro filters, so you do not need to jump between different contexts. And the last thing, output data do not disappear. This is, like in some applications, some of you reported that when you have a loop and this loop finishes, there was a problem in 4.12 that after the last iteration, the output data disappeared somehow because the iteration finished. Now this problem does not appear anymore. Due to the improved notion of iteration, the last iteration still shows its outputs data. Okay, so this is a quick introduction into sections. And the next element, results control. There were also some versions of this control, but this was also significantly improved in 5.0. What results control is for? It is a multifunctional control, especially useful in Smart Edition. It can be used to quickly see textual values. It can be used to set inspection limits, so those limits, minimal, maximal values that define if the status of inspection is pass or fail. But it also collects statistics like minimal, maximal, average value that appeared in all iterations. And it also can be used, this is actually still work in progress, to see textual results in the runtime environment. This control solves partially the problem of bystanders. So those bystanders are those strange filters which you need to add to post-process data. The old style was to have some data processing tool and then adding a formula of a filter which decides if this is okay or not okay in the inspection. Now in Smart Edition, you can click the checkbox in the results control and specify limits. This can be specific value or range or several other conditions defining the status of pass or fail. So those pass or fail conditions will no longer be in the program. It will be put to the results control, which will really make programs more readable. And there are nice statistics also collected in the results control about how many inspections were okay and which were not okay. And yet another new feature in Smart Edition are auto previews. There is a new auto preview mode. We call it M, standing for macro filters. There were A mode automatic previews in the past, but they were showing you things related to currently selected tool. Now the M are much improved. They show you results for entire macro filter, and this is very useful for small application. Before I show you a demo, here is how it looks with all elements together. We have a minimal editor, we have results control, and we have automatic previews. Actually, with small applications, you do not need to manually configure your data previews. Everything will be automatically displayed. This M previews just show all inspection results in a single graphical view, and the textual results are visible in the results control, and also you set limits here. So time for demo. Let me switch to my presentation with live software. Just a second. I will be showing this to you with development version. It's an official development version. I hope there will be no bugs showing up, but I want to show you all the most recent features. Maybe not everything is still in the official build 5.0. So I'm starting with a well-known example inspection application of bottles, and okay, I got complaint that you do not see. Okay, so first, yeah, okay. So I was not on the right screen. You see the application, and I'm starting, already have image acquisition done, and I will show you how we create programs in this approach in the Smart Edition. So I want to add more tools. The second thing will be measuring the liquid level. Sorry, not this one, this one. So I will be scanning for the level of the liquid in each bottle. I added a new tool, and I do not create connections by dragging and dropping, but instead I choose them from the drop-down menu. So I connected the input image to the scan edges tool, and now I can configure the scanning. I need to go back one step. Sorry for that. Before I do this, I need to create a coordinate system for this inspection. So I go to create coordinate system tool from point. Okay, insert, and I connect this to actually. I want to create a coordinate system for each bottle. So for the stripes, which I previously already detected, I add a new output. I will. It's the center of this stripe. I will give it a name. So the default is okay, and I select this from the properties window. Now I can execute the program, and you can see the coordinate systems are already there. So now what I wanted to do is to put the scanning filter to the program, and now I can connect maybe the image. Actually, I can also do this by drag and drop, but this is additional way like this, and it's already connected here. You can see the image is connected. I need to connect also the coordinate system for the inspections, and now I can define the scan path here, holding the control key to have it straight. Okay, and I can execute the next iteration. Okay, I need to change the edge transition, and now I have the liquid levels correctly detected. So this is, in short, how you create programs with the minimal editor. You can see I already see everything in the graphical view, but I will also now be able to define inspection conditions. So for first thing, I want to guarantee that there are 4 bottles. For that, I will show the count property of the stripes output. And now when I have this count, I can define that expected value is 4. This will be verified when the program is run. Here, the second thing I want to check is that the level of liquid is at the right coordinate. So from this, I extract the y coordinate. I will give it just the y name. And I can make a condition that this is below a specific value. So now when I run the program, you can see I can see the values of each coordinate. And when I go to case where this coordinate is wrong, I have this red diode signaling that inspection is failing. When I go to next image, when we have incorrect number of bottles, failing actually is this inspection. One more thing I can do is to check those tops of the bottles. There are some cases where they are inverted, like this one. So for that, we can check it with template matching. I will just use Control Space shortcut to add a locate tool. So as always, I connect it with the input image. I connect the coordinate system, and now I can define one more thing. I need to define search region. So the search region will be somewhere here. Okay, and the edge model will be this. No rotation at all. Okay, and now we can see, okay, the pyramid level is too high, so I will reduce it to automatic value. Okay, I can see the 3 were detected, and the condition for that is simply it must be detected. So in our terminology, it's something else than nil value. So I can click check result to add this to my results control, because it's a graphical result, so it's not automatically visible here, and I will say it's unequal nil. And with that, you can see this time this one is failing actually, not because of the missing element, but because the mean score was incorrectly set, but now it's set in the right value, and we can see this element is failing. So this is how you create programs with Smart Edition. You simply add basic tools and you see instantly everything in the graphical view, and then you set inspection results, definitions of pass or fail criteria in the results control. So back to my presentation. I also want to show you formulas. These are, of course, this is element which is also used in Professional Edition a lot, but there are a lot of changes. Let me show them to you. So formulas were extended because in 4.12 and earlier we had to have those special filters for general data processing, classification, handling with missing elements, and so on. Currently, we strongly recommend to use formulas for almost everything other than the main tools. And the formulas were vastly improved. You have inline editor. You just click and type a formula. You do not need to manually create the interface of a formula. You just directly reference in the expressions to named output values. So you first give a name to something you compute, and then you directly use it in a formula. We have automatic type deduction, so dealing with types is also removed. We have broadcasting, so formulas can actually be written like working for a single element, but they will process entire arrays at once. This is like, there's also array formulas in Excel. More advanced users of Excel will see some resemblance of that. And there are many new functions. So in short, the functions, what we have is, you have if then else condition in formulas. You have select function, which is like the classification tool for finding elements, find all, find first, checking if an array contains some element. Flattening is bringing multi-dimensional array to one-dimensional array, finding maximal elements. Index of max is the finding of the index of the element. This is the actual element. Creating sequence of numbers, creating arrays, joining arrays. And also for geometry, we have a lot of tools for measuring angles, normalizing of angles, measuring distances, creating primitives. So those things can also be done in formulas. I will quickly show you, actually much more can be done, but just I wanted to specify the most important elements. Now I will show you some examples. So the easiest one, basic, is creating things, values with conditional expressions. If something, then this value, otherwise another value. And now selecting, so filtering of data. This is a synthetic example. For example, we have 10 numbers and we want to select only odd numbers. So we can create it with select function. Select values. The first thing is what we are filtering. The second argument is the condition. Values modulo 2 should be 1. And actually there is quite a magic, because this is an array. So you can see this is actually what we call broadcasting. You use an array, but actually you type the condition as if it was a single value, and it will work. It will create an array of booleans, and this will be fed into the select function, and this will give you selection. I just randomly taken some real life example, some more complicated conditions for selecting some detecting points on some conditions can be done also like this. This is how it looks usually in more complex applications. Things like string operations, concatenating strings, converting to strings, counting the number of elements which are not present. This is everything can be done in just one expression. Creating labels that you can put into displays directly also in formulas. This string should be put at this coordinates, and everything, those secondary tools, tasks can be done in formulas now. Another example, calculation of angles. This is also, numerical thing. Not really, we do not want to make it using tools, so we prefer formulas. Difference between angles, between two segments. So we get a property of each segment, segment 1 direction, segment 2 direction, and we measure difference in the range of 0 to 180. Another possibility is to also take into account the direction, the orientation, and then you can have 360. So those are just quick examples of what you can now do with formulas. This is especially connected to making it easier, because you simply can get a fewer number of tools in your application. Things in formulas are just more concise. and then the programs are more readable. Some of our competitors I know also introduce some scripting. We stay with formulas which are like embedded Excel. We do not really aim to get scripting into those formulas. These are just expressions. If you want to have some more complex algorithm, we still have user filters. But the entire goal of Smart Edition is to make things more easy to use. Sometimes when you do things like measuring angles, you need to just add some mathematical expression. There is no easier way to do that. So we make those expression engine much more expanded, so more things can be done in this way. And we actually consider this easier to do than with tools like measure angle. That's all about this edition. To summarize, Smart Edition is a redesigned new edition of Adaptive Vision Studio, which is aimed to basic applications where you have no more than 25 tools. Then it works best. It consists of minimal program editor, results control, sections, and automatic previews, and formulas. And sections and formulas actually are also very useful in the professional edition. I highly recommend revising also the way you create your applications using all the new features I demonstrated. Okay, so that's here now. Time for questions and answers. Do you have any questions related to this presentation? Okay, I have first question: can I create more complex multi-camera applications in Smart Edition? Okay, so this is a good question. Of course you can, but the Smart Edition was designed for simple applications. Actually, I know most of you who are listening to my presentation today are our existing customers, and Adaptive Vision actually allows you to create very complex projects, and I mean the professional edition, and you may get accustomed to the way this works. But Smart Edition is our goal. Our goal is to make it more available to customers who maybe are not dealing with vision every day. They may be production engineers, and we are competing here with vision sensors. Actually, the Adaptive Vision Studio Smart is one level above vision sensors. It's an entry-level PC software for industrial applications. You can create multiple camera systems with that, but some features are missing, like those for parallel programming, or maybe some advanced ways of visualizing data. So for multi-camera systems, for more complex applications, I would require still, I would recommend Professional Edition. Okay, the next question. Okay, there are just some exclamations about thank you for good comments. Okay, do I need runtime license? Okay, this is another internal question. The licensing for Smart Edition is meant to have unified licensing, so the same license goes for runtime, the same goes for development, because Smart is meant to be installed directly at production, and you can work it. That there is a mixture of development and runtime environment. Okay, the next question. Do you have examples in semicon inspection which requires inspection and measuring at micrometer levels or sub-micrometer levels? This is a question that often comes. Actually, the final accuracy of the system in terms of micrometers or below this is a function of entire system, not only of software. So you should consider lighting, you should consider optics, you should consider resolution of your camera, not only software. Software is just the last element. And the general rule in software is that if information is not on the image, we will not extract it. So if there is noise and there is not enough resolution, we cannot go, to very high precision measurements, because software is no magic. It can only extract information which is there already. Having said that, we have tools which provide very good sub-pixel precision. In some applications, you can measure with 1/10 of pixel, but no, it's very easy to make misinterpretation, because with those very high precision tools, I know we are sometimes compared to laboratory equipment, and when you go to production, there are all sorts of trouble, unequal edges of objects, texture, or even grease on metal surfaces, which reduce possibility to make very high precision measurements a lot. So what you can achieve in laboratory setting with clear, not moving objects is usually much more than what you can achieve in real world applications. Okay. Can I switch between Adaptive Vision Studio and Adaptive Vision Studio Smart? Switch, what do you mean by switch? You can definitely well, actually, I know what you may mean. When you use Professional Edition, actually you can configure the environment in such a way that it is almost Smart Edition. So you switch between the compact and the minimal program view. You can enable results control, and you can enable macro filter previews. So and the programs are saved in the same file format. So basically, Professional Edition contains a Smart Edition inside. You can use those features, but Smart Edition is just cheaper, and it's for different type of customer. Okay, next question. What do we have? Can we use the finalize section to inform our PLC that the program is finished by sending information with Profinet to the controller? Yes, exactly. This is an excellent example of what you can do with the finalize section. Exactly. Okay. Michał, could you bring just the barcode and data matrix libraries to mobile? I will improve our application. It will improve our applications and make it more Industry 4.0 to mobile, to mobile phones. I think we should discuss this application offline because I need to know more details. In general, we do not recommend mobile phones as cameras, but I can understand with code reading that there is a special application, and I'm pretty sure we can do it. Okay. Okay, yes, I'm available, but please make an appointment with the reception desk to connect with me directly. Okay. Next question, how much will it cost? The standard cost of a Smart Edition is 1,800 euro. And this is single quantity. Higher quantities have lower prices, of course. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, I don't think so. I think I answered all the questions. So thank you for listening to my presentation, and there will be now lunch break. We will be after lunch break. We are coming with another session. So thank you.